Anna was a quiet girl, often lost in her own thoughts while perched on the edge of her bed, surrounded by stuffed animals and faded posters. She was 12 years old, yet her world felt smaller than ever. The walls of her tiny house seemed to close in on her as the shadows grew longer with each passing day. Outside, the sun shone brightly, casting warm rays that hinted at adventures waiting just beyond her door. But Anna couldn't bring herself to step outside, the thought alone chilled her. Fear gripped her heart, a constant companion that whispered warnings of dangers lurking beyond the safety of home. The rustle of leaves sounded like whispers, and the breeze carried strange noises that made her shiver. Her mother often told her stories about the outside world, painting it as a place filled with both beauty and peril. These tales only deepened Anna's unease, weaving a web of anxiety that kept her firmly rooted in place. As days turned into weeks, Anna found comfort in familiar routines, but a longing began to grow deep inside her, a quiet desire to know what lay beyond those four walls. Anna's home was a relic of the past, an old, creaky house that had stood for generations. The wooden floors groaned beneath her feet as if whispering secrets only she could hear. Each room held memories, stories of laughter and love, but also hints of sorrow that seemed to linger in the air. The walls were painted a faded blue, once vibrant but now dulled by time, and adorned with family photos that captured moments long gone. In the corner of her room stood a tall bookshelf filled with dusty novels and forgotten treasures, a reminder of the adventures she could only dream about. The attic, with its low ceiling and dim light, often drew her curiosity, yet it felt like a forbidden place shrouded in mystery. Shadows danced in every corner, and every creak sounded like a warning. Though the house offered her shelter, it also reminded Anna of her isolation. She felt safe wrapped in its familiarity, yet trapped within its walls. The dichotomy of comfort and confinement weighed heavily on her heart, leaving her restless as she yearned for freedom beyond the door she dared not open. As Anna sat on her bed, memories of her childhood began to swirl around her like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. She remembered a time when she was fearless, running through the backyard with friends, laughter echoing as they played hide-and-seek among the tall grass. The world felt vast back then, filled with endless possibilities. She would climb trees, her exhilaration soaring as she reached for the sky, imagining herself as an explorer discovering new lands. But with each passing year, those carefree days faded like the colors on the walls. Fear crept in slowly, a quiet shadow that took root in her heart. The adventures that once thrilled her began to feel daunting, the outside world transformed from a playground into a place filled with unknown dangers. Her mother's warnings echoed in her mind, solidifying her anxious thoughts and turning her dreams into distant memories. Now, as she gazed out the window at the vibrant world beyond, Anna felt a pang of sadness. The girl who once embraced adventure was now trapped within herself, yearning for that spark of bravery to return and free her from the confines of fear. Anna's mother, Claire, was a constant presence in her life, wrapped in her own worries. With a gentle yet firm demeanor, she often reminded Anna of the dangers lurking just outside their door. "It's not safe out there," Claire would say, her voice laced with concern. She shared stories about accidents and mishaps that happened to children who ventured too far from home, reinforcing Anna's fears instead of soothing them. Claire had always been protective, perhaps overly so. She filled their days with indoor activities, baking cookies, painting pictures, and reading stories, but while these moments brought comfort, they also created a barrier between Anna and the outside world. Each time Anna expressed a desire to play outside or make new friends, her mother's fearful gaze would fall upon her like a shadow, making her hesitate. As Anna listened to her mother's warnings echoing in her mind, she felt an uncomfortable tug of loyalty mixed with frustration. The love Claire provided felt suffocating at times. Anna craved freedom but feared disappointing her mother by seeking it. This internal conflict deepened Anna's sense of isolation and made her long for the adventures she could only imagine. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, casting eerie shadows across her room, Anna heard a peculiar sound, a soft thumping that seemed to resonate from the attic above. Her heart raced, caught between fear and intrigue. The noise was unlike anything she had ever heard. It was rhythmic, almost like footsteps mixed with a gentle scraping. Despite her mother's warnings about wandering into the attic, curiosity nudged at her. She stood up and approached the attic door, its old wood creaking as she pushed it open slightly. A rush of dust escaped into the dim hallway, swirling in the light from the window. The thumping continued, pulling her closer, as if it were calling out to her. With each tentative step up the stairs, Anna's pulse quickened. She felt the weight of uncertainty on her shoulders, yet couldn't shake the feeling that this mystery might lead to answers about her fears or even unlock a part of herself she had forgotten. As she reached for the rusty handle of the attic door, she hesitated just for a moment, wondering what lay behind it and whether she was brave enough to find out. With a deep breath, Anna finally turned the rusty handle and pushed open the attic door. The hinges creaked in protest, releasing a puff of stale air that smelled of dust and forgotten time. As she stepped into the dim light, her eyes adjusted to the shadows, revealing a treasure trove of old toys and forgotten belongings piled haphazardly in the corners. Her heart raced with excitement and trepidation as she picked up a dusty, cracked porcelain doll with a faded blue dress. It reminded her of one from her childhood, a toy once cherished but long abandoned. Nearby, she spotted an ancient trunk, its leather surface worn and splitting. With trembling hands, she unlatched it to find forgotten trinkets, a child's teddy bear with one button eye missing and yellowed photographs of people she didn't recognize. As Anna sifted through these relics, she began to piece together fragments of her family's dark past. Each item held whispers of sorrow and loss, hinting at stories that were never told. The weight of their history pressed down on her, igniting a fire of determination within her. Perhaps understanding this past could be the first step toward unlocking her own courage. As Anna continued to sift through the attic's forgotten treasures, she felt a chill sweep through the air, causing her to shiver. Glancing around, she noticed something out of the corner of her eye, a fleeting shadow darting between the stacks of old boxes. Her heart raced as she turned quickly, but nothing was there. She tried to dismiss it as her imagination, yet an unsettling feeling began to grow within her. Soon, the shadows around her seemed to deepen and swirl, merging with the dim light as if they were alive. Anna felt a prickle at the back of her neck, as though someone, or something, was watching her. The feeling was both terrifying and strangely comforting. It was as if the presence in the attic was trying to communicate, to share secrets held within these walls for far too long. With each creak of the floorboards, Anna felt compelled to uncover more. The shadows danced, and for a moment, she could almost hear whispers carried on the breeze of dust motes drifting through the air. Though fear gripped her heart, curiosity urged her forward. Perhaps these supernatural elements were connected to her family's past and could lead her toward understanding her own fears. As days went by, the shadows in the attic seemed to cling to Anna more than ever, and her sense of isolation deepened. Each night, she fell into a restless sleep, plagued by nightmares that blurred the line between her imagination and reality. In these dreams, the attic transformed into a haunting labyrinth filled with whispers that echoed her own fears. She would find herself running from shadowy figures, desperately searching for a way out as their ghostly hands reached out to her. One nightmare became a recurring theme. Anna would stand at the attic's edge, staring into an endless void where she could hear faint cries of children, and then she would see herself as a little girl, laughing and playing outside. This stark contrast tormented her. It reminded her of all she had lost to her fears. When she awoke, sweat-drenched and gasping for breath, the lines between what was real and what was merely a dream felt increasingly blurred. Anna began to fear sleep itself, knowing the nightmares awaited her. Yet beneath that fear lay a growing determination. If she could confront these visions, perhaps she could unlock the doors to both her past and the world outside. Anna sat on her bed, wrestling with her thoughts as the afternoon light spilled into her room. She knew there was a world outside her window, filled with laughter, sunlight, and the thrill of adventure, yet the weight of her fears clung to her like a heavy blanket. Her mother's warnings echoed in her mind, "Stay inside, it's not safe out there." The more she internalized those messages, the more they shaped her reality, trapping her in a cycle of anxiety and hesitation. Every time Anna gathered the courage to think about stepping outside, a wave of doubt would wash over her. Memories of past experiences flooded back, moments where she felt embarrassed or scared among other children, events that seemed trivial but loomed large in her mind. She envisioned herself at the park, standing alone while others played, feeling invisible and unworthy. Yet beneath that fear lay a flicker of hope. Anna wanted to break free from the barriers that confined her. She yearned for the laughter that once filled her life and dreamed of reclaiming that adventurous spirit buried deep within. It was a battle between her desires and her fears, and she knew that one day she would have to choose which voice to listen to. One evening, as shadows danced across her room, Anna felt a surge of determination welling up inside her. The mysterious presence in the attic, once a source of fear, now became an emblem of the courage she needed to summon. She knew that to truly understand her family's past and confront her own fears, she had to face whatever awaited her above. Taking a deep breath, Anna ascended the stairs to the attic once more. Each step felt heavier but filled with purpose, as if the floorboards were encouraging her forward. As she reached the top, she paused and gathered her thoughts. "I'm not afraid anymore," she whispered to herself. With that resolve, Anna pushed open the attic door more confidently this time, ready to confront whatever was hidden within its dark corners. The air was thick with anticipation. As she stepped inside, the familiar chill brushed against her skin. To her surprise, this time, the shadows seemed less menacing, they flickered and swirled as though welcoming her back. Anna focused on a shadow at the far end of the room that seemed to beckon her closer. Heart racing but fueled by newfound bravery, she took a step forward and prepared herself to discover the truth waiting in the dim light. As Anna stepped deeper into the attic, a sudden chill swept through the air, and the shadows began to coalesce into a figure that loomed before her. Her heart raced as she faced this terrifying apparition, its form shifting between familiar faces and dark shapes, embodying all her fears, failure, judgment, and isolation. It was as if every doubt she had ever harbored materialized before her eyes. In that moment of confrontation, Anna felt paralyzed. Part of her wanted to flee, to retreat back into the safety of her home. But another part surged with defiance, a spark ignited by her recent journey of self-discovery. "I'm not afraid of you," she shouted, her voice echoing off the walls. The figure hesitated, flickering as if unsure how to respond to her bravery. As the tension thickened in the air, Anna took a step forward. With each movement, she realized that fighting this presence wasn't about physical strength but about confronting what it represented. She understood that to overcome her fears, she had to embrace them, transforming her dread into empowerment. In that defining moment, Anna chose to fight, not just against the figure before her but against the limitations that had held her captive for so long. As Anna stood her ground against the shadowy figure, a sudden clarity washed over her. The apparition began to morph, revealing familiar features from her family's past, faces of ancestors who had faced their own trials and tribulations. Realization struck Anna. This figure was not just a manifestation of her fears but also a representation of the struggle and resilience that coursed through her family's history. The memories flooded back, tales her mother had shared of brave relatives who overcame great obstacles and societal pressures. Each story carried a lesson about facing fears, resilience, and the importance of embracing one's true self. In that moment, Anna understood that she was connected to a legacy of strength and courage that she had always overlooked. With this newfound insight, Anna felt the weight of her fears begin to lift. Instead of fleeing from the figure, she reached out, acknowledging the pain and struggle it represented while embracing the strength it offered. As the shadows dissolved around her, Anna felt empowered for the first time, ready to take control of her life, step outside into the world waiting beyond her home, and carry forth the legacy of bravery that now resided within her. As Anna stepped back from the fading shadows in the attic, a wave of calm washed over her. The weight of her fears had lifted, replaced by a newfound sense of purpose and openness. She realized that the journey ahead would be challenging, but she felt ready to embrace the unknown. No longer confined by the walls of her fears or her home, Anna envisioned herself standing in the bright sunlight outside, where laughter and adventure awaited her. With a deep breath, she descended the attic stairs, each step signaling her commitment to growth and self-discovery. Anna understood that fear would always be a part of life, but so too would courage. She could balance the two, using fear as a guide rather than a barrier. From that moment forward, Anna pledged to step outside, explore the world, and make her own choices. Determined to honor both her family's legacy and her personal journey, she stepped into the garden outside. The vibrant blooms mirrored her excitement and hope. Today marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where Anna would write her own story, filled with adventures beyond her wildest dreams. Anna paused at the threshold of her house, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The sunlight streamed through the open door, illuminating the path before her, where the vibrant colors of flowers danced in the gentle breeze. This was a world she had only glimpsed from inside, filled with possibilities that made her feel both exhilarated and terrified. Taking a deep breath, she felt the weight of her past fears lift as she recalled the courage she had discovered within herself in the attic. With each pulse of her heart, Anna knew that stepping outside represented more than just leaving her home. It was a leap into the unknown, a chance to embrace the adventures that awaited her. She looked back one last time at the cherished memories within those walls, the laughter, the lessons, and even the fears that had shaped who she was. It was time to carry those experiences forward, not as chains but as stepping stones. Summoning her strength, Anna stepped over the threshold into the bright world beyond. The air felt fresh against her skin, and for the first time in a long while, she smiled, ready to explore life on her own terms and write the next chapter of her story.